Hi, Kelsey. Yeah, I am in downtown Sioux Falls. I was just on the corner of Phillips and 10th, and we are going to walk the block to Phillips and 11th and kind of show you that some of these business owners are outside of their businesses, but it's very peaceful down here still. These business owners, some of them, most of them have security, some of them have friends of the business owners, just here to protect their business. And that's their main goal. And we have heard that there is National Guard down here. I have spoken with some of them, and they said that there is a presence of police, that ever since the curfew, maybe the traffic has gone down a little bit, but there still is police presence down here a little bit, along with security at some of these businesses. And not only just security, but I spoke with a few people, and they're just friends of some of these business owners, and they are out here to protect their business. And they are hoping that they don't have to use any force, but there's everything from weapons that are guns, and then there also are weapons that are bats, and we even saw an axe. And so mostly towards the 10th Street on Phillips, and once we get towards here, we're walking towards the 11th Street, and there's a little less footage, or there's a little less security. But I do see, I don't know if some of these business owners live above their business or people that protect it, but there are people coming out and sitting in front of businesses and walking in front of businesses. But once again, not a whole lot of protesting down here right now, like there might have been speculated earlier. But there is a presence of police, there is a presence of business owners, there is a presence of business owner security and friends. So we just walked the block on Phillips from 10th to 11th Street, and you saw some of that security that they have here on 10th Street. Brian?
Jacob Sersosimo reporting live for us from downtown Sioux Falls. Jacob, thank you so much for that. This information just in to us from our Carleen Wild. A little earlier, we had a discussion about whether any of the cars and people at the Empire Mall proper might have crossed over Louise and temporarily set up shop at the Empire East Shopping Mall, which has a large parking lot over there. Carleen Wild now reporting at this late hour that Sioux Falls police have told people who are parked near Kohl's and Target, both of those stores in the Empire East area, people that are parked in that area have a limited amount of time to get out.
Tear gas in my eye here.
Or they're going to be subject to aggressive measures to get them out, and we've seen them tonight, flashbangs and tear gas. We heard a little bit of audio there. I don't know if you caught that from our Carleen Wild. Sounds like she might have caught part of a new volley of tear gas.
And I try to stay up as much as I can live.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make sure they're doing that. Yeah, part of it, we have you on, like, your signal is bad, so we have you on such a delay. That's why sometimes it's like you and Brian are having
Talking
trouble
over each other?
Yeah, but it's like, Kello is not even, it's ridiculous. Like, they might as well just go home.
Well, Kevin, we can't worry about them. We got to square away what we got, but you know what? Right, but Brian.
Well, yeah, if you feel like things are wrapped up there, do you
want
to go over to Target?
A couple of them are pulling out.
Yep.
Okay, why don't you guys go over there?
Okay. All right.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right. Hop in with us?
Yeah.
Sad that they won't go home and listen to the law. Sad.
Well, it appears like your store hasn't been looted yet, but did you consider anything today? I mean, was there any word about putting up boards up or anything like that?
Yeah, we did everything we could in the short time we had warning. Of course, yeah, now I wish I would have known more to get boards up, but who would have thought?
I think that sums it up pretty well. What are you going to be doing tonight as you try? Obviously, you have to repair this, but what are you going to be doing the rest of the night?
Well, getting some sheets of plywood and hopefully guard this, I guess. So, but I got more people coming here that I don't know why they're here. So maybe you want to interview them, see what they're going to do.
Do you know any of these people, or?
No.
Okay. Well, again, just stay safe tonight. Obviously, a lot of things are going on.
Property, you guys have to leave. Gotta go.
We do have a lot of people gathering here. I see some people, looks like some young kids taking photos on the side. As the manager just said, he doesn't know these people.
Zach, if you can still hear me, if he is within
Go ahead.
earshot, maybe ask if he has surveillance video set up at his
Sir,
store.
you have surveillance? Do you have surveillance video, a surveillance camera?
Yeah, there's surveillance.
So do you feel like you'll be able to review that and maybe hopefully have a chance to figure out who did this?
Yes, absolutely.
So there you heard it. It's definitely kind of tense right now.
Has he called police yet to report this?
Have you called police yet to report this, sir?
Yeah. Police are on the way.
Okay, so as you can hear him say, police are on the way. Obviously a very busy night in Sioux Falls. We'll toss it back to you in the studio, live from 41st and Kiwanis. This is Zach Borg, Dakota News Now.
All right, Zach, thank you so much for that. What a surreal night it must be for that business manager and really for all of us as this unfolds in real time. We're looking at video that was shot this afternoon. This is along Phillips Avenue, where a lot of business owners spent part of their day boarding up windows. One of those situations where you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. The city, let me back that up. Downtown Sioux Falls, urging downtown business owners to get anything off the street that could be used as any type of weapon to sort of be chucked through a window. So outside chairs, outside tables. Right there, the city removing hanging plant baskets from downtown. Anything that at a moment's notice could be grabbed and used as a weapon to either hurt property or hurt someone. Downtown businesses were active today, making sure those things were off the streets and by extension out of the hands of anyone who might want to do more harm than good with them as a result.
Brian, to the end of what the manager was talking about at the Verizon store, we do have a tweet from Sioux Falls Police tonight, released just about 20 minutes ago, saying even though this isn't over yet, there is a lot of video surveillance of those committing numerous crimes. We will identify those that committed the crimes, and they will be held accountable for their actions. For me, that just brings up a moment during the mayor's press conference when he said that he was recognizing people's T-shirts, and even it appeared that he recognized people that he saw attending the violent, destructive demonstration. Brian.
Yeah, it was a particularly poignant moment of Mayor Ten Haken's news conference that happened at 10 o'clock. Where he said a couple things that really got our attention. He said, if you have a child between the age of 14 and 18 and you don't know where they are, the mayor says he had a pretty good idea where they were. He said that he saw in video footage from the Empire Mall that there were a lot of kids out there. And then he underscored that by saying, essentially, Mom and Dad, we have a lot of video of your kids committing actual crimes. And so that was a real shot across the bow from the mayor's office in terms of what they may be able to do after the fact once this all settles down in determining who did what and when. State of emergency for the city of Sioux Falls. Curfew in place as a result of that state of emergency. It will run until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The curfew is citywide. Initially, this curfew had boundaries, and one of the boundaries on the east side was Kiwanis Avenue. But what's so interesting about our latest live report from Zach Borg is that that Verizon store that had the window broken out, that was the victim of vandalism, is technically directly east of Kiwanis. So maybe that was one of the events that allowed the mayor's office to say, we're going to ixnay the boundaries on the curfew and we're just going to go citywide because it may be the best course of action given everything that's going on. Sioux Falls Police in response tonight, South Dakota Highway Patrol in response tonight, South Dakota National Guard in response tonight. That due to an order from South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. She spoke about, I think, close to 10:30. Spoke live from Pierre saying that she had activated the South Dakota National Guard to help keep the peace and quell the unrest here in the city. It is 11:37 here on Dakota News Now. We are in the middle of continuing coverage. This just in, AVERA hospitals on lockdown at this hour. All hospitals and emergency rooms on lockdown right now. Emergency patients are still being admitted. There is security present at those facilities, and if you are an AVERA employee, you are being told that you should report to work. But that is a new development at this very late hour into us. So we wanted to pass it along to you. A lot of things are going to be affected by this, sort of a domino effect. One thing happens, then a lot of things happen after that. Zach Borg is standing by. Either he's getting ready or we can go to him right now. Zach, are you there?
Yes, Brian, here, as you saw, a rather tense moment here about 5-10 minutes ago. There were a line of cars just off to our side here, lights shining pretty brightly. It looked like they were going to maybe encroach. And unfortunately, the manager of the store who we spoke to earlier, he's got a few more people who's come here, a friend and a couple other young men. So they're kind of standing guard over the store right now. Luckily, those people who certainly, it felt like they had bad intentions. I can't confirm that for certain. But right now, they're just kind of keeping guard of this store on what's just been an absolutely surreal night. And I think that's probably the key. I can't speak for everybody, but if you feel like you have property, maybe you might want to keep an eye on it at this point. Just be very vigilant because there are definitely people out and about, and it's definitely kind of hard to tell what the intentions of a lot of people are right now.
Zach, as far as you can see in that business, in that strip mall, is that the only store that has seen damage from what you can see?
That's the only store we've seen with any damage at this point. There's an Arthur Johnson Shoes, there's a Shopko Optical. This is the only store that has any windows broken out. It appears that there's been any damage. I can't really see that there's been any looting inside. Most of the merchandise still appears to be on the racks.
It's going to be a late night for a lot of people here in the city of Sioux Falls, whether you're in law enforcement, whether you have a business. This story right here points up to the fact that the thing that you don't think will happen actually can happen. And that's what we've seen a couple different ways in the city of Sioux Falls tonight. Last we heard from the Empire Mall, authorities there had given a specific warning to people who had gone across Louise Avenue, the other side of Louise Avenue, to a shopping area called the Empire East. There's a couple different stores there, and apparently what we've learned is that people have left the Empire Mall parking lot, but they've transitioned over to the Empire East, and they've been hanging out in the parking lots of Kohl's and Target as well. Let's hit pause on that for a second. It looks like law enforcement of some type has just shown up at that Verizon store where the window has been broken in to check out the evidence of the damage for themselves. The manager told us a few moments ago that he had indeed called law enforcement and made them aware of what had happened there. Back to the story that I was telling you, law enforcement has told people who have been hanging out in the Empire East parking lot, specifically at Kohl's and Target, that they have a limited time to get out of there, or they run the risk of maybe some more aggressive measures to get them out. And those measures that we've seen tonight deployed at the Empire Mall proper include flashbangs and the use of tear gas. Through the evening, we've seen multiple volleys of tear gas used in an effort to try to disperse the crowd that was there. Let's talk about that crowd for a second. The Sioux Falls Mayor's office gave us estimate, maybe a guesstimate, that between 700 and 1,200 people were in that Empire Mall parking lot earlier tonight when the unrest started, and then when the unrest, on a scale of 10 went to 11, when the unrest really ratcheted up there at the Empire Mall. What you're seeing here, if you're just joining us, this is live video from the area of 41st and Kiwanis. If you're familiar with that area, you know there's kind of a retail section there on what would be the northeast corner. There's a Verizon store there, and apparently that Verizon store was hit by vandals tonight, something, we don't know what, thrown through a window there. Our Zach Borg is on the scene. He says there's no evidence to his eye that any looting has taken place, but the damage is bad enough. And within the last couple of moments, some law enforcement officers, it looks like sheriff's deputies, have shown up to sort of take the temperature of the situation to see what exactly has happened there or maybe hasn't happened there. But we talked to that manager who got that late evening call that no one would ever want to get about their business, that something there has gone wrong. And we see another, I believe, sheriff's deputy showing up there right now. All right, we've got some video we want to show you. This was sent to us by a viewer. It appears to show people breaking into Riddle's Jewelry. This would be the area of 41st and Louise. That definitely looks like someone breaking a door and walking through. We've received multiple social media reports about potential smash and grabs, break-ins, looting that have happened near the Empire Mall area, and that is some viewer video sent to us that appears to show a break-in happening at Riddle's Jewelry, which isn't far from the Empire Mall at all. We want to also bring you up to speed on this. We are learning that all AVERA hospitals have now been placed, let's check that. All hospitals and emergency rooms have been locked down. All hospitals and their emergency rooms locked down at this late hour. Emergency patients are still being admitted, but no, don't let it throw you off if you see it, that there are security officers present. And AVERA employees, you are being told that if you have to report to work, if it's on your schedule, go ahead and report to work. That is what they want you to do. But again, there's a curfew in place in the city of Sioux Falls until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The only people that are supposed to be out are people that are going to and from work and those who need some type of emergency response. You see our banner there. Governor Noem did in fact activate the South Dakota National Guard earlier tonight in an effort to quell the unrest, to help bring things under control here in the city. And you may have heard me mention earlier that this is one of those stories that sort of ebbs and flow. What you know at the beginning isn't what you know at the end. The initial theory of all this is that the activity was confined only to the Empire Mall parking lot and to some stores there like the Red Robin or Chico's. You know, we've seen evidence of vandalism there. Well, now we're learning, and this is video proof of it, this is the Verizon store at 41st and Kiwanis, that the damage and the activity has spread beyond just the Empire Mall. To what extent, we are learning in real time. We'll know more tomorrow morning than what we know right now. And where's Jenna at? Jenna Lemaire, you are at the Starbucks on 41st. Am I correct in saying that? Oh boy.
Yep, I'm at the Starbucks right off of 41st. It's kitty corner to the Barnes & Noble and where I was previously at in that parking lot by the Empire Mall. This is the Starbucks, and right behind me You can see right to the left of me, that door is completely shattered. This right here is completely shattered. You can even see right here, there's still rocks on the ground from these literal holes right here. And these stores in this same mall hit too. I did speak to one business owner, and she said she actually got a call after a biker had come through here after he had noticed a group of people that were throwing rocks through these windows. She confirmed that they had been stolen from, including the Riddles that is also down here. So this is kind of just a little bit another taste of what's going on down here. I mean, there's just glass all over here on the ground, you know, completely left. So I guess it's interesting that this biker had come up and then they dispersed and immediately left, but they did steal things, at least from what the business owner told me. So right now there are officials, I believe the state troopers are down here guarding this. And they said that they're planning to be for as long as they have to. And I know that they're quickly trying to take care of this situation right now and getting this cleared up and safe. So yeah, this is what's happening right now. The owner did say, and something I've noticed too, I don't know if anyone's brought this up, but you know, there's a lot of groups that are here on the side of the road. Some have been walking in this street, you know, some are just kind of lingering around certain businesses, but I think a common thing that we've noticed is that they look very young, whether they're young adults or kids, teenagers. The group has been very young. So this is just kind of a taste of what's been happening. This is just a piece, I guess, of, you know, all of the other stores, but this is a separate mall, separate from the Empire Mall and Barnes & Noble. So yeah, Brian, I don't know if you have any questions, but that's what I've got right here to show you guys.
Well, I'm not sure if it's a question, but it's an observation. You're on 41st Street, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
Right across from the Walgreens, Barnes & Noble, Wendy's, and then the Empire Mall is right here.
Gotcha. There is a citywide curfew in effect, but it sure sounds like there's a lot of traffic going by right now.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, from whether we're going live or we're talking to certain business owners or just trying to scope out each new location, there has been constant, you know, honking and I mean, there's so much traffic for a Sunday night. Obviously, with the circumstances, it's understandable, but yeah, absolutely. There's lots of traffic, lots of people still yelling, still honking, you know, showing signs of protest. So, absolutely.
Jenna Lemaire reporting for us live along 41st Street, where likely there are a lot of people out who should not be out at this late hour because there is a citywide curfew in effect until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. You're only supposed to be out if you're going to and from work or if you need some type of emergency care. All right, we're going to show you some of the damage that we've been able to uncover tonight. This is video of the Chico's store from the Empire Mall, and this is one of several stores that has rock damage through it. This is one of our news vehicles. This was parked at the Empire Mall parking lot earlier tonight, and we believe what was used was a rock. What you're seeing there is the back window of the vehicle. It has been completely shattered out. And this is video that was sent to us by a viewer that appears to show someone breaking the glass door and then entering Riddle's Jewelry in the area of 41st and Louise. It's actually not very far from the Empire Mall at all. And Jenna Lemaire just told us about some damage to a Starbucks that's a little to the east of there. Looks like a couple rocks have been thrown through the windows at that Starbucks location, again, which is near 41st and Louise. We're waiting for an update about what's happening at the Empire Mall. This is what we knew last, that authorities at the Empire Mall had issued a warning specifically to those who have gone across the street from the proper Empire Mall, let's call it, to the Empire East shopping area. You're familiar, Target is located there, Kohl's. Those two stores I'm bringing up specifically because law enforcement has told people who may be parking over there as a way to sort of ride this out that they need to get out of that parking lot or they were going to be subject to some aggressive measures to get them out. And what we've seen tonight is police using flashbangs, police using tear gas to get their message across that you are no longer welcome in this area and you need to go. So we're waiting to hear what is happening there exactly. All right, this is some more. All right, hold on here, folks. Bear with us. We have some new video into the newsroom that we want to put on the air and show you here momentarily. All right, so we've talked all night, really about the last 20 minutes or so about this Verizon store near 41st and Kiwanis that had some rock damage to it. This is apparently, we don't know if it's the actual event, but it sure does look like it, of people throwing rocks at the windows of that exact Verizon store where the investigation is now underway about what happened there. It's possible that someone drove by and caught the folks responsible in the act. It sure does look like it. And we've been receiving reports on social media throughout the evening, people worried and concerned about various stores, really all up and down the 41st Street corridor, about what may or may not have happened there. We heard from Zach Borg a little earlier at the Western Mall saying that there's no evidence that he saw that any stores there had been damaged or broken into, but it might be one of those things as well where you're not going to see it until the light of day. Let's go ahead and bring Zach Borg back into the conversation. It's 11:52 here on Dakota News Now. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Brian. You asked me earlier if there was a store that any other storefronts had been damaged. Well, as we were talking to the owner of the Verizon store, the owner of the Hagel store, which is a boot, clothing, and tack, it's several feet down, but I couldn't quite see it from here. And I have to use my phone light here for a moment, but as you can see, a rock was thrown through here. There's some glass on the ground. The owner himself is talking with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department right now, so I can't talk to him. Officers are obviously a little busy right now. They declined to comment. It's a very busy night for them. There was one more window down there that did get a rock off it, but it didn't seem like it went through, so maybe not a strong enough rock to get through. You can see some glass on the ground. There's actually a rock over here, which appears to be the one that was thrown off the windows over here, but it didn't break it. So again, we have the Verizon store, which is about, 25 yards away maybe, and another store in this strip mall that has damage, not as extensive as what the Verizon had, but still, obviously people were trying to get into this one as well.
All right, Zach Borg reporting in the area of 41st and Kiwanis, where there's damage that's been uncovered, and then there's damage that maybe you don't see right away, but then you see it later, and that store is a prime example of that. All right, Zach, thank you so much for that. We want to bring you up to speed on this. The Sioux Falls Police Department reaching out to our newsroom, sort of putting out a call that if you have any information about damage that happened tonight at the Empire Mall, to please give them a call and let them know what you know about areas that might be damaged or maybe who might be responsible for that damage. As we continue to see our live shot here from the area of 41st and Kiwanis, where we know a Verizon store had a fairly significant rock thrown through the window, apparently, if appearances are correct. Back to that story about if you have any information about any of the damage done at the Empire Mall, there's two phone numbers you can call. You can call police at 367-7212, or you also have the option to report any information that you might have anonymously. That would be a phone call to Crime Stoppers, which is at 367-7007. Coming up on midnight late on this Sunday evening, an evening that a lot of us aren't going to soon forget what we've seen unfold here tonight in the city. It was to have been a peaceful protest, and for the most part it was, in honor of the memory of George Floyd, that Minneapolis man who died while being in custody of Minneapolis police officers. The initial protest started at Van Epps Park, and then from there it went north on Dakota Avenue, made a brief stop at the Minnehaha County Courthouse, and then continued around to Main Avenue, then north, and then was to make a stop near the Law Enforcement Center, which it did. What happened after that wasn't part of the plan. It was unexpected. It wasn't part of the plan that organizers told the city about, and that's likely because the organizers may not have been involved at all with what happened tonight. But a substantial group then marched up, I think memory's failing me here a little bit, but they got up to 14th in Dakota, and then they went over to Minnesota, and then marched Minnesota north all the way to Russell Avenue, west on Russell, then south on Prairie to 6th Street. Then they came across 6th Street back to Minnesota, okay? Then they walked Minnesota Avenue from 6th Street all the way to 41st Street, then turned west, and then from there, that's where they made their way over to the Empire Mall. And that group arrived at the Empire Mall in the vicinity, I want to say, of 9:15. Let's call it that. And our Carleen Wild was with the head group of that larger group as they arrived at the mall. And she said what happened when they arrived at the mall is that situation really just turned on a dime. The people pulled into the mall parking lot, and then a contingent of that group broke off, headed initially for what looked like the entrance to the Red Robin restaurant there. And then after that, that's when it all broke loose. And from then until now, those are the events that have happened. Protesters throwing water bottles, protesters throwing rocks, law enforcement responding with flashbangs and with tear gas, trying to break up this crowd to decrease the possibility of violence and injuries to people and damage to property. And we've watched it all unfold here on Dakota News Now for coming up on 3 hours now. State of emergency does continue for the city of Sioux Falls. As a part of that, a city-wide curfew. If you have a Sioux Falls address, you're under this. The curfew runs until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We have seen an enhanced response from the Sioux Falls Police Department. We have seen an enhanced response from the South Dakota Highway Patrol. Part of that response includes the South Dakota National Guard, which Governor Noem activated early this evening in an effort to quell the unrest. AVERA hospitals, we want to pass this information along to you. All AVERA hospitals have been placed on lockdown status as a direct result of these protests and riot activity in Sioux Falls. This lockdown does affect all AVERA hospitals and emergency rooms within the city of Sioux Falls. We do know emergency patients will still be admitted. Security, though, is present as a part of that lockdown. And AVERA employees are being told tonight that if they are scheduled to report to work, they should do so. This is a picture of some damage that we've seen tonight out at the Empire Mall. This is the exterior of the Chico's store. And if you look at that carefully, you can see that left entrance door is shattered. Someone threw something, and it connected with that glass door, and it shattered. It broke out. And so that's just some of the results of what we've seen tonight. This is a picture of the back window of the news vehicle of longtime Dakota News Now photojournalist Troy Timmerman. Someone, we believe, threw a rock through that window, shattering that window out. And that vehicle was parked at the Empire Mall, so it was there tonight as everything unfolded. And that is an apparent casualty. A news vehicle of ours vandalized tonight as a result of the events that we saw happen. And this is video that was sent to us by a viewer. It appears to show someone breaking into Riddle's Jewelry, which is near 41st and Louise. Take a look at that. Someone using something to apparently break that glass door and then to make entry. We don't know how much further this person might have made it into the store, but that video appears to show they at least got through one of the front doors. And again, more video into our newsroom tonight, and we thank those of you who took this video and sent them to us. This video appears to show a break-in at the Verizon store. Now, to help you get your bearings, this is the area of 41st in Kiwanis. We've been live from there with our Zach Borg a couple times tonight. We showed you live footage of the aftermath of this earlier. Appears to show, you see there what looks like a group of people and maybe just one person appearing to throw something at that window. We know that that specific window was blown out by something that was thrown through it. Now, Sioux Falls Police tonight are asking for your help involving any of the criminal activity that happened tonight at the Empire Mall. We already know authorities are analyzing video evidence in an effort to find those responsible. If you know anything, if you can help police figure any of this out, there's two ways you can do that. You can call the Sioux Falls Police Department at 367-7212. You can also report any information anonymously at Crime Stoppers, which is 367-7007. All right, well, that is going to wrap up close to 3 hours of wall-to-wall coverage tonight of an evening that I don't think anyone saw coming. At least they hoped we would never see anything like this, Kelsey, but now we have.
Yes, this has been very difficult throughout this entire evening. We hope if you're watching that you are staying safe throughout the rest of the evening. Thank you for tuning in and watching our coverage here on Dakota News Now.